last week. Mind or thought processes. Now, this chapter deals with different kinds of thought processes. There are 5 sense door thought process and mind door thought process. And 5 sense door thought process is divided into very great, slight and very slight. And then mind or thought process is divided into first kama vajara and appana. Appana means Mahagata and Lokuta. And kama vajara is divided into Vibhuta and Avibhuta. Clear object, having clear object and obscure object. And then Appana thought process is also divided into jhana and then magga and then nirodha. Jhana is divided into 2. First attainment and then later attainment, sustained attainment. And magga thought process also the magga thought process and later phala attainment thought process. So now today we'll study the third thought process. Actually, third thought process will be described in the 9th chapter. In this chapter, third thought process is just implied but not described separately. But I think we should study third thought process here also. And then when we come to the 9th chapter, we will study it again. So, third thought process arises when a person gains enlightenment. Suppose a person is practicing vipassana meditation and he progresses from one stage of vipassana knowledge to another. So when he practices vipassana meditation, there are millions and millions of thought processes, vipassana thought processes. They are actually kama vajara, mind or thought processes. And these thought processes take miscellaneous formations as object. Miscellaneous formations means actually conditioned phenomena or just mind and matter. So when you practice vipassana meditation, you take mind or matter as object and try to see impermanent, suffering and no-so nature of mind and matter. Try to see its arising and their arising and disappearing and so on. So these objects of vipassana meditation are called miscellaneous formations, different kinds of formations, different kinds of saṅghāras. So when a person is practicing vipassana meditation, his mind or thought processes take these miscellaneous formations, mind or matter, as object. And suppose his vipassana becomes matured, and so now he is going to attain enlightenment. So at the moment of attainment of enlightenment, the third thought process arises. So that third thought process goes first, the bhavanga, and then vibrating bhavanga, and then arrested bhavanga, chalana bhavanga, and upacheda bhavanga. And after that, bhavanga is arrested and vitichedas. Process consciousness arises. So there are 4 moments of kama vajra javana. The same as in jhana thought process. In the jhana thought process, there are what? Parikama, upajara, anuloma, gotra. But before them, there is what? Mind door adverting. So instead of 5 sense door adverting, here we have mind door adverting. So manodvara vajana. After manodvara vajana has turned the mind towards the object, then there is first parikama, and then upachara, and then anuloma, and then actually gotrabu. So these 4 moments represent what? Kama vajra kusala associated with knowledge. Jnana sampayukta kama vajra kusala. So the first one is called parikama, preparation, and second one upachara, that means neighborhood or access, and the third one is called anuloma, that is it confirms both preceding and succeeding moments, and the fourth one is called gotrabhu. Now I explained about gotrabhu last week. So what is the meaning of gotrabhu? Change of lineage, right? Gotra means lineage, and bhu means to overcome or to enter into. So gotrabhu means to overcome here, to overcome uttojana lineage, because from the moment of Magga he is going to be a noble person, a Riya. So at the moment of gotrabhu, the uttojana lineage is overcome, and it enters into, or it pushes into, a Riya lineage. So it overcomes uttojana lineage and it enters into a Riya lineage. That is why it is called gotrabhu. Now, although there are 4 kama vajra yavanas, parikama, upachara, anuloma, and gotrabhu, they have different objects. Now you see, parikama, upachara, and anuloma have miscellaneous formations as object, but gotrabhu has nibbana as object. In the 3rd chapter, the section on objects, you can go back to that chapter. Those that take nibbana as object, kama vajra kusala jnana sampayukta, right? Now, although it is stated in general that kama vajra kusala jnana sampayukta can take nibbana as object, actually only when it functions as gotrabhu can it take nibbana as object. It is direct seeing of nibbana. When we do some meritorious deed and we say, may I attain nibbana, that nibbana is not real nibbana. It is just a designation nibbana or some kind of concept. So here, gotrabhu takes nibbana, really takes nibbana as object. So it is an exception, because in one thought process the object of the thought movements must be the same. But in this thought process, the object is different. So the object of Manodvara, Vajana, Parikama, Upajara and Anuloma is what? Miscellaneous formations or conditions, phenomena, mind and matter. But the object of Gudrabhu is Nibbana. And after Gudrabhu comes Magga, path consciousness, followed by 2 moments of Phala consciousness. And then lapses into Bhavanga. Now, when we talk about enlightenment, we must understand with reference to this thought process. So, I saw one mistake here. It says akusala kama vajra chita. So it should be kusala. Kama vajra kusala. In English is correct. Wholesome sense sphere chetas. So parikama, anuloma, upachara, anuloma and Gudrabhu are wholesome sense sphere chetas. So kama vajra kusala chetas. Magga is what cheta? Magga is lokuttara cheta, right? Supramundane cheta. And 2 phala moments also supramundane cheta. Now at the moment of Magga, what happens? Destruction of defilements, destruction of kilesas. So when we say the defilements are destroyed or eradicated, we mean this moment of path consciousness. So, what is the object of path consciousness? Nibbana, no? Right? And what is the function of path consciousness? Destruction of defilements. So what we mean by enlightenment is just this moment of Magga. So Magga consciousness arises taking Nibbana as object and doing the function of destroying the defilements. So Magga is so strong, so powerful that by just arising once, it can eradicate mental defilements altogether, so that they do not arise again. You all know that at the moment of Sotapaddi Magga, how many kilesas are destroyed? You remember? Wrong view and doubt. If you don't remember, don't worry. when you reach the 9th chapter, then you will understand. So, at the moment of Sotapaddi Magga, 2 defilements are eradicated. And when they are eradicated once and for all. So they will never arise again in that person. So Magga has that power. That is why the abandonment of Magga is called complete abandonment. There are 3 kinds of abandonment, right? Momentary, temporary, and altogether. When you are learning Abhidhamma, or when you are paying homage to the Buddha, you do not have defilements, and that is momentary abandonment. If you get jhana, if you practice vipassana, and you can put these mental defilements away from you for some time, and that is temporary. And when you reach the stage of Magga, you can destroy them altogether. So that is, in Pali it is called samuchcheda, that means cutting off. When you cut something, then it is cut and cannot be joined again. So at Magga, the defilements are destroyed, the respective defilements are destroyed once and for all, and so they never arise in that person again. That Magga movement is followed by, in this thought process, 2 Phala movements. So Phala movements are the results of Magga movement. So there is nothing intervening between Magga and Phala. So Magga is the cause and Phala is the result. So the cause and result, the result follows the cause immediately. Now, the attributes of Dhamma. One attribute of Dhamma is what? Akalika. Akalika is translated as timeless. But that is not easy to understand. Timeless. Now, akalika means it does not wait for another time to give results. So that means it gives immediate result. So immediately after its disappearing, the fruit, the phala arises. When we say Dhamma is akalika, Dhamma is without time, we mean by Dhamma Magga, not phala, not nibbana. So Magga movement is followed by 2 movements of phala. And what is the function of these phala movements? Further tranquilization of defilements. That means, see, Magga puts out the fire, and then phala movement puts some more water on the fire already put out by Magga, so that they cannot burn again. So that is what the phala movements do. So they are called in Pali Patipassati, tranquilizing again, pacifying again. So that means they keep the defilements well eradicated so that they cannot come up again. So 2 phala movements and then left to bhavanga. So this is the path thought process. In the path thought process there are phala movements also, but we just call it path thought process because phala is always connected with Magga. So after that, bhavanga movements arise, and then the reflection thought processes follow. They are mind or thought processes. Now this is path thought process. And after reaching the first Magga, let us say, that person wants to enter into it again. But as you know, Magga consciousness does not arise more than once, right? So what he enters into is into phala movements. So in order to get into phala movements and enjoy the bliss of emancipation, he practices vipassana again. And then the sustained attainment of phala thought process arises. I think there are diagrams of them. Mind or thought processes. Appana Magga. Right? Now, the first one is for Sotapatti Magga. There can be two kinds of path thought process. For those who are of average faculty and for those who are of keen faculty. So for those who are of average faculty, there are 4 Kamavajra movements: Parikama, Ubachara, Anuloma, and Kotrabu. And there are 2 movements of Phala. But for those of keen faculty, there are only 3 movements of Kamavajra jhanas: Ubachara, Anuloma, and Kotrabu. And 3 Phala movements. You know why there are 3 Phala movements here? You don't? You want to make 7. So, Parikama, Upajara, Anuloma, Kotrabu, Magga, Phala, and Phala. 7 movements, right? So for those of keen faculty, Upachara, Anuloma, Kotrabu, Magga, Phala, Phala, Phala. So there are 3 Phala movements. That is for keen faculty. Now, for upper Maggas, Sakadagami Magga, Anagami Magga, and Arahata Magga. So for upper Maggas, the same thought process, but with a different name for Gotrabu. So instead of calling it Gotrabu, here it is called Vodana. Vodana means cleansing. Because after one attains Sotapatti Magga, one is already an Arya. So Gotrabu cannot arise there. There is no lineage to overcome and to enter into. So that moment is called Vodana instead of Gotrabu. But actually it is also the Kamavajra Javana. So there are Manodvara Vajana, Parikama, Upachara, Anuloma, Vodana, and then Magga and 2 Phala movements. That is for average faculty. For those of keen faculty, drop Parikama and then put 1 more Phala. The others are the same. The difference is only with Parikama and without Parikama, and also instead of Gotrabu, there is Vodana. So sustained Phala attainment. Next page. In the sustained Phala attainment, what do you find? Four Anuloma movements. So 4 movements are called Anuloma here. It's confusing, right? The same 4 movements, but they are not called Parikama, Upachara, Anuloma, Gotrabu, but all are called Anuloma. So 4 movements of Anuloma. And then no Magga. Instead of Magga, there is Phala. And then there is another Phala without the circles, but just dots. So that means there are many movements of Phala, millions and millions of movements of Phala. That is for average faculty. And for a person of keen faculty, you drop what? 3 Anuloma, right? Yeah, that's all. So the others are the same. So that is for Phala Samapatti thought process. So with regard to path thought process, we have to understand the path thought process, and then that is immediately followed by reflection, karma, vajra thought processes. We'll study them in the 9th chapter. And then there can be also sustained attainment thought processes. So this path thought process is first attainment thought process. When it is when in sustained thought process, no magga arises, but instead phala moments arise millions and millions of times. And again, the kamavachara javanas preceding magga do the function of what? Parikama, Anuloma, and Gotrabu, and they take miscellaneous formations as object, and Gotrabu takes Nibbana as object, and then Magga follows, and then two phala moments, right? Now there is a question. I don't know whether I can discuss here or just wait until we come to the 9th chapter. Can we call Gotrabu Vipassana or not? Okay, I leave it here. Because Vipassana does not take, Gotrabu does not take miscellaneous formations as object, right? It takes Nibbana as object. If it is Vipassana, it must take miscellaneous as objects. So actually it is out of Vipassana. But you may call it Vipassana if you like. But strictly speaking, it is not Vipassana. It is a culmination of the topmost part, right, of Vipassana. Okay, now we study the correlations in absorption, chapter 4, section 15. You have to look at the Chitta chart. If you have read the book, you already know it. Okay, now I read the English translation. Therein, immediately after a javana, accompanied by joy, that means somanasa javana. Here, somanasa javana means somanasa kama vajra javana. So, immediately after a javana accompanied by joy, absorption, that means jhana and magga phala. Absorption accompanied by joy may be expected. That means somanasa javana is followed by somanasa appana, right? Somanasa javana, kamavajra javana. Somanasa javana is followed by somanasa appana. And then immediately after a javana accompanied by equanimity, that means ubhikha. Absorption occurs accompanied by equanimity. So ubhikha javana is followed by ubhikha appana, right? So either in the jhana thought process or magga thought process, parikama, upachara, anuloma, and gotrabu can be somanasa or ubhikha. So if they are somanasa, then magga must follow. The following magga must be somanasa. If they are ubhikha, magga must be ubhikha. The same with jhanas. So Somanasa javanas are followed by Somanasa apana. Ubekha javanas are followed by Ubekha apana. And again, immediately after a wholesome javana, kusala javana, absorption occurs through a wholesome javana and the three lower fruits. That means after kusala javana, the apana javanas are kusala and three lower phalas. After kusala javana follow kusala javanas and three lower phalas. Immediately after a functional javana, that means after kiriya javana, absorption occurs through a functional javana and the fruit of arahantship. That means kiriya javanas and arahata phala javanas follow. Is it clear? Not yet? Okay, please look at the chart again. Take the Kama Vajra Kusala. How many? 8. Among them, how many are accompanied by Somanasa? 4. Among them, how many are accompanied by knowledge?
2.
The first 2. So after the first 2, how many apana javana? Apana javana means rupa vajra, arupa vajra, and lokuttara javanas. They are called apana javanas. Altogether 26. 26 means taking lokuttara to be 8. Okay. So after the first 2 kama vajra javanas, they are accompanied by knowledge. They can follow kusala, which are accompanied by somanasa. That means 4 rupa vajra kusalas. And then all maga, maga jitas accompanied by somanasa, red dots. And then lower 3 phalas accompanied by somanasa. So how many? 32, right? Okay, again. After the Kama Vajra Kusala accompanied by knowledge, follow 32 Apana Javanas, and they are 4 from Rupa Vajra and then 16 from Magga and 12 from Phala, right? Yeah, you get all together 32. Is that okay?
Yeah.
But why?
Okay. Then what about Upekha? Kamavajra Kusala accompanied by Upekha and knowledge. 2. How many apana javanas can follow? They must be Upekha. 1 from Rupa Vajra and 4 from Arupa Vajra and 4 Magas and then 3 lower phalas. So 3, 4, 4, 1. 12. Okay. So 12 apana javanas can follow 2 kama vajra javanas accompanied by Upekha. So when we are talking about kama vajra javanas, please have in mind the thought process, jhana thought process and magga thought process at least. So in the jhana thought process, there are parikama, upachara, anuloma and gotrabhu, right? They are accompanied by somanasa and also by upekha. And also in magga also they can be accompanied by Somanasa and Ubekha. So if they are accompanied by Somanasa, then Rupavasara first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. And then Magga also first, second, third, fourth jhana, and 3 phalas, first, second, third, fourth jhana. They can follow. Now if they are accompanied by Ubekha, then 5th Rupavajra jhana, Kusala, and then 4 Arupavajra jhana, Kusala, and then 4 phalas accompanied by Ubekha, and 3 lower phalas accompanied by Ubekha. 12, right? So after Kamavajra, Kusala, Somanasa, Jnana Samyuddha, there follow 32 Appana jhanas. After Kamavajra, Kusala, accompanied by Ubekha and knowledge, there follow 12, right? So this you can find out following the statement here. Immediately after a jhana, okay. After Somanasa jhana follows Somanasa Appana. After Ubekha jhana follows Ubekha Appana. After Kusala follows what? Kusala jhana and 3 lower phalas. After Kriya jhavanas and Arahata phala. Right? So we'll go to next. Kriya jhavanas. How many Kriya jhavanas and Kamavajra Kriya jhavanas are there? 8. How many are accompanied by Somanasa? 4. How many are accompanied by knowledge? 2. So after these 2, how many can follow?
Somanasa.
4 Rupavajra Kiriyas, and then last Arahata phala. Kiriya, right? So after Kiriya, Magga cannot follow, and the other phalas cannot follow. So after Kamavajra Kiriya, accompanied by Somanasa and knowledge, there follow only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So 4 from Rupavajra and 4 from Phala, Arahata Phala. Then let's go to Ubekha. To Ubekha, followed by Ubekha, right? Yes. How many can follow? 1 from Rupavajra, 4 from Arupavajra, and the last 1. 6. Right? Yeah. So let's check with the manual. On page 170. Following wholesome consciousness accompanied by joy, 32 classes of absorption jhavanas arise. So we get right. After wholesome consciousness accompanied by equanimity, 12 classes of absorption jhavanas arise. Right? After functionals accompanied by joy, 8 classes arise. 8 types of consciousness arise. And after functionals accompanied by equanimity, 6 arise. So I want you to fill your cards like this. Only to fill the colors, only those that apply. You have to make 2 cards. One for Kusala and one for Kiriya. So when you have this card, it's very easy, you see. 2 dots of red followed by 32 red dots, and 2 blue dots followed by how many? 12. And here this for Kiriya. So 2 red dots followed by how many? 8, right? And 2 blue dots followed by 6. So you get instant. So when we study Abhidhammattha-saṅgaha, we study when we are very young. So when we come to this place, if a student can find out by himself the 32, 8, and then 8 and 6, then he's rewarded with something. Maybe a set of robes or some books or something like that. So if he could do it without the help of a teacher, then he will get some kind of reward. So in the last paragraph, page 171, last means of this section, for worldlings and trainees, etc. In the case of worldlings and trainees who have attained the 3 lower parts and fruits after any of the 4 wholesome sensory jhavanas accompanied by knowledge, there arises one of the 44 absorption jhavanas described above. That means 32 and 12. And after the 4 functional sensory jhavanas accompanied by knowledge, there arises to the arahant one of the above 14 absorption jhavanas. that is, you have to add 8 and 6. Okay, this is the apana thought process. So please remember that apana means the name of what? Originally it is the name of vitaka. Then it is applied to first jhana. And then it is applied to all jhanas, magga and phala. So when we say apana jhavana, we mean mahagata and lokuttara jhavanas. So if we take lokuttara to be 8, there are 26 apana jhavanas. Now we finish the apana thought process, but we will study the other mind or thought processes later. Later means at the end of the 5th chapter. For that is not necessarily mind or. It could be 5 sense no and mind or thought process, death thought process, and then we will study others in the 9th chapter. Next comes the procedure of registration, the Dharamana Niyama. The Dharamana Niyama means determining the Dharamana, something like that. So which Dharamana follows which jhavana, and which Dharamana arises with regard to which type of object. Now, there are 3 kinds of objects mentioned here. They are first anicca. You have the chance, handouts, today's handout. So please look at those handouts. So the quality of object is determined by way of average being. Now, we will come to that later. So the objects are divided into 3. The first one is anicca, undesirable object. The second is itta, or itta majjatta, means desirable. Are divided into anitta, undesirable, not desirable, and then itta, desirable. Itta majjada means average desirable. And the last one is ati, itta, very desirable, exceptionally desirable, extremely desirable. So three kinds of objects are mentioned here. Although there are two varieties for desirable, there is only one for undesirable. So only one, any object which is undesirable is just undesirable. But any object which is desirable is divided into two, just desirable and very desirable. So for Buddhists, Buddha is a very desirable object. For a young man, say, a woman may be a very desirable object, and so on. So there are these three kinds of objects. And these three kinds of objects are determined by an average being. That means it will be very difficult to decide which is desirable and which is undesirable if we take into account every individual. One thing you like may not be liked by another person. So one thing desirable for you may be undesirable for another person. So how do we decide, how do we determine which is desirable and which is undesirable? In the commentaries, it is said that they are determined with regard to average persons. If you are a king, if you are a very rich man, then some ordinary things will not be desirable for you. But if you are a very poor man, then even a small thing will be desirable for you. So we do not go by very rich people and very poor people, but those of average wealth, so average people. So if it is desirable for average people, it is supposed to be desirable. And if it is undesirable for average people, it is considered undesirable. So there are three kinds of objects. Even we decide by way of average beings, there are also other things to to take into consideration. Now, one teacher said that we should determine the quality of object by vipaka. That is just saying the other way around. If the consciousness is akusala vipaka, it must be undesirable. If the consciousness is vipaka, then it is desirable. So in that way he states. And it is said that also by way of doors we can determine the quality of the objects. The example given is excrement. Excrement is undesirable to the eye, right? You don't want to see excrement. And to the nose, it is undesirable. But to the touch, it's a good touch. It is soft. So, according to the touch, it is desirable. But according to the sight or smell, it is undesirable. So, sometimes you have to decide through dwara. Now, if a flower, sometimes there are flowers that have bad smell, right? Beautiful flower. So it is desirable according to Chakudwara, eye door, but it is undesirable according to nose dwara. And also, in summer, cold is desirable. When we feel hot, we turn on fans or air conditioning, and so we want cold or coolness. But in winter, we want heat. So cold is desirable in summer, and heat is desirable in winter. So it depends like that. So some, according to the season, according to time, the quality of the objects can change. But all this must be determined through the experience of an average being, not through very rich persons or very poor persons. So there are three kinds of objects: undesirable, average desirable, and very desirable. Now, if the object is undesirable, then Panchadwara Vajana, Sampadichana, Santirana, and Dharamana are the result of akusala. So please have the thought process in mind. So when the object is undesirable object, then Panchadwara Vajana must be from akusala vipaka, right? Sampadichana must be from akusala vipaka, Sandirana from akusala vipaka, and Dharamana from akusala vipaka. Dharamana means just the Sandiranas. If the object is average desirable, then the Panchadwara Vajana, Sampadichana, Sandirana, and Dharamana are result of kusala. So in a given thought process, we can say if the object is undesirable, then these Panchadwara Vajana and so on are akusala vibhaka. If the object is desirable, the average desirable, then they are kusala vibhaka. But they are accompanied by ubheka. But if the object is ati-eta, very desirable, then Panchadwara Vajana and Sampadichana are the same, kusala vibhaka accompanied by ubheka. But some Santirana and Dharamana are accompanied by somanasa. Here Dharamana means also Kamadira vibhaka. So first, please note this. So if the object is undesirable, Panchadwara Vajana and others are result of akusala. If the object is average desirable, they are kusala vibhaka, and they are accompanied by ubheka. And if the object is very desirable, then Panchadwara Vajana, Sampadichana are kusala vibhaka, but they are accompanied by ubheka. But Santirana and Dharamana are accompanied by somanasa. This is the determining the object. And the chetas taking them as objects. Now, Panchadwara Vajana, Sampadichana, Santirana, and Tadharamana are all vipaka cetas, right? Sampadichana, vipaka, I mean Panchadhara Vajana is no vipaka. Sampadichana, vipaka, Santirana, vipaka, Tadharamana, vipaka, right? Now, it is said that vipaka is always fixed. That means vipaka cannot vary. If the object is anatta, it must be akusala vipaka. If the object is undesirable, it must be akusala vipaka. If the object is desirable, it must be kusala vipaka. So there is no variation of this. So the vipaka is fixed. It is like the what about that? When you look at yourself in the mirror, the image in the mirror, reflection in the mirror is the same as your face. So something like that. Vipaka, since they are the result of karma, there is no change. So when the object is undesirable, it must always be akusala, vipaka. And if the object is desirable, it must always be kusala. So vipakas are fixed. So in a certain thought process, you cannot change the vedana of these. Whether if they are undesirable, then you have to pick up from akusala vipaka, and if they are desirable, from kusala vipaka. But javanas can vary. There is no fixed rule for javanas. Even though the object is undesirable, the javana can be kusala or akusala. Javana can be somanasa or ubhika. Now, suppose, say, very desirable object. Although it is very desirable object, those who, let's say, the Buddha is the very desirable object. Now, but for those who have no faith in the Buddha, for those who are not Buddhist, they may not have somanasa javana, they may have ubhika javana. Because those who are not arahants have this, what is called perversion of views or something like that. In Pali it is called vipanasa. Perversion of perception, sanya vipanasa. So, because those who are non-arahants have this perversion of perception, that means the wrong perception of things. Even when the object is very desirable, the javana can be accompanied by ubhika, not by somanasa. And for those who are enemies of the Buddha, taking Buddha as an object, they can have what kind of javana? Dhomanasa javana, right? Dosa mula ceta. So, the quality of javana is not fixed by the quality of objects. It depends on one's own understanding, one's own yoniso manasikara, and so on. Now, suppose undesirable object. Those who have deep nature can look at the undesirable object, look at the disgustable objects, and have the Ubbeka javanas. They may not have akusala javanas, domanasa javanas. Now when you practice meditation, suppose you practice Asubha meditation. So when you practice Asubha meditation, you look at a corpse, very, very undesirable object. But there you can have kusala javanas and even Ubbeka javanas. And now excrement is undesirable object. But for dogs, they are desirable object. And so they may have somanasa javana when they see such things. So, for those who have not eradicated the perversion of perception, that means who can have wrong perceptions of things, javana can be anything. So, javana is not determined by the quality of the object, but the vibhagas are fixed as to the object. So if the object is undesirable, vibhaga must be of akusala. If the object is desirable, vibhaga must be of kusala. Right. But javanas may vary. Javanas may be kusala javana or akusala javana, or they may be accompanied by somanasa or ubbeka. So there is a saying, vibhagas are fixed, but javanas vary. Okay, now in the manual, page 171, bottom paragraph. In this connection too, at the end of functional javanas, accompanied by joy, there arise registration mind moments also accompanied by joy. That means somanasa kiriya javana followed by somanasa tadaramana. Right. Again, somanasa kiriya javana followed by somanasa javana. And at the end of functional javanas accompanied by equanimity, the registration mind movements are also accompanied by equanimity. So, ubbeka kriya javanas followed by ubbeka tadaramana. That means somanasa followed by somanasa and ubbeka followed by ubbeka. Here, the manual does not say what Dhararamanas follow the Kama, Vajra, Kusala and others. So this passage shows only for Kiriya Javanas. Now, if you have the sheet, right? So here, please look at the chart. Kama, Vajra, Kriya Javanas accompanied by ubbeka. How many? There are 4. They can be followed by Kama, Vajra, Vibhaga, ubbeka 4 plus Santirana, ubbeka 2, altogether 6. They can be followed by 6. It is the same as the first line above, Somanasa Kiriya followed by Somanasa Tatarana. Let's skip Somanasa. Now Kama, Vajra, Kriya, Somanasa 4. Right? And then Hasito Bara. These 5. These 5 are followed by Kamavajra Vipaka Somanasa 4 and Santirana Somanasa 1. So these 5 are followed by 5 Tadaramanas. Somanasa Tadaramanas. Loba Mula 8 and not Dosa Mula, Moha Mula 2. Loba Mula 8 and Moha Mula 2 are followed by all 11 Tadaramanas, 3 Santiranas and 8 Kamavajra Vipakas. And Kamavajra Kusala, all 8, are followed by 11 Tadaramanas. So please make a correction. Loba Mula 8 and Moha Mula 2, not Dosa Mula. Now what about Domanasa? Domanasa, Dosa Mula Cheta 2. They are followed by the Dharamana and Bhavanga accompanied by Upekha. They cannot be followed by Somanasa because they are so different in nature, Somanasa and Domanasa. So Domanasa cannot be followed by Somanasa. So it is followed by Upekha, the Dharamana, and Upekha, Bhavanga. Now, this now, Domanasa. So Domanasa javanas can be followed by Upekha, the Dharamana, and Bhavangas also must be Upekha. Now, please note this, because when we come to thought process with guest Bhavanga, we must understand this. So, Domanasas javanas can be followed by only Upekha, right? Upekha Tadharamana and Upekha Bhavanga. That's okay. So you have Domanasa javana, and if there is Dadaramana, then the Dadaramana will be Upekha. If there is no Dadaramana but Bhavanga following the javanas, then Bhavangas will be Upekha. That's all right. But there is one problem here, a dilemma. Suppose you are born with Somanasa Patisandi. If you are born with Somanasa Patisandi, your Bhavanga must be Somanasa, right? During the whole of your life, your Bhavangas must be Somanasa. They cannot be Upekha because they must be identical. Patisandi, Bhavanga and Chuti, right? So, you are born with Somanasa Patisandi, and so your Bhavangas are always Somanasa. Okay. You are an enemy of the Buddha. So you see the Buddha and you are angry with him, and so there is Domanasa javana. And if there were no Dadaramana, Bhavangas must follow, right? What kind of Bhavanga must follow? After Domanasa, Somanasa Bhavanga cannot follow, right? But you have Somanasa Bhavanga, so there is a dilemma here. I'll say it again. After the Domanasa javanas, if the Dadaramana were to follow, what kind of Dadaramana would that be? After Domanasa javana, Upekha, right? Upekha Dadaramana. But the object is very desirable. So when the object is very desirable, Dadaramana must be Somanasa, right? On the sheet, if the object is Ati Eta, right? the Somanasa for Santirana and the Dharamana. So when the object is very desirable, the Dharamana must be accompanied by Somanasa. But here, the object is very desirable. So if the Dharamana were to arise according to the object, they must be accompanied by Somanasa. But the preceding Javanas are Domanasa. And the other saying is that after Domanasa, the Dharamana must be Upeka. So there's a difficulty here. No Dharamana can arise. Okay, let's delete Dharamana. Come Bhavanga. Then, what kind of Bhavanga must be there? Somanasa or Upeka. After Domanasa Javanas, right? No Somanasa Bhavanga can follow. But you have Somanasa Bhavanga all your life. So, in this difficulty, there is a guest Bhavanga. He comes and helps us here. So, that guest Bhavanga is actually Upeka Santirana. So Santirana accompanied by Upeka takes that place of Bhavanga. So it is called Agantuka Bhavanga. That's why I put it RBH. R means Agantuka and BH Bhavanga. So it is guest Bhavanga. In Bhikkhu Bodhi's book, it is called adventitious Bhavanga. I think guest Bhavanga is easier to understand. So that Bhavanga is called guest Bhavanga. So it is Upeka. So since it is Upeka, it is compatible with Domanasa, right? Yeah. And after that, the regular Bhavangas can follow. So for that person, the thought process runs like this. Atita Bhavanga, first Bhavanga, and then vibrating Bhavanga, rest Bhavanga, Panchadwara, 5 sense door adverting, seeing, accepting, investigating, determining, and then Domanasa Javanas. And Domanasa Javanas are followed by 1 Bhavanga, Santirana accompanied by Upeka. And then Bhavanga follows. So here in this thought process, the Bhavangas at the beginning must be accompanied by Somanasa, right? Because you had Somana, you had Patisandhi accompanied by Somanasa. So these Bhavangas must be accompanied by Somanasa. Panchadwara Vajana cannot be accompanied by Somanasa, right? It's always Upeka. And then seeing consciousness, it's always Upeka. Sampadicana, always Upeka. Santirana, here it is very desirable, so Santirana must be accompanied by Somanasa. And then Vattavana. Vattavana is Monodwara Vajana, and so it is always accompanied by Upeka. And then Javana movements, here Domanasa Javana. And then Kes Bhavanga. It is accompanied by Upeka. And then Somanasa Bhavangas again. So the difficulty is solved by the Bhavanga, the Upeka Santirana performing as guest Bhavanga. Now it is examined in the commentary, sub-commentary, that what function does it do, this Agantuka Bhavanga, this guest Bhavanga. Now guest Bhavanga is Upeka, Santirana accompanied by Upeka. So it can do how many functions, normally speaking? Santirana Upeka, how many functions?
5.
5 functions, right? Patisandhi, Bhavanga, Chuti, Santirana, Tadharamana. 5 functions. So here, can it be Patisandhi? No question. Can it be Chuti? No, you are not dying yet. Can it be Santirana? Santirama, if it is Santirana, if it performs Santirana function, it must investigate. But here it is not investigating, so no Santirana. And then, is it Tadharamana? It can function as Tadharamana? No. Tadharamana follows Javana. Right? And then Tadharamana must take the object of Javana. And if it is Tadharamana, there must be two. So only one remains, and that is Bhavanga. So it functions as Bhavanga. That is why it is called Agantuka Bhavanga. That is for Ati-Mahanta object. For Mahanta object, for great object, since it is Mahanta, the object can be any kind, very desirable or average desirable or just undesirable. So in this thought process we have two first bhavangas, and then the others are the same. And then Javana followed by, again, guest bhavanga. The only difference is in this thought process, Santirana can be either Somanasa or Ubeka, depending on the object being desirable or undesirable. Now, a person may have attained jhana, and then somehow he lost these jhanas. So he was depressed, or he was sorry for that. So when he feels sorry for that, he takes those jhanas as object. Those jhanas are Mahagata objects, right? So in that case, it is Manodvara thought process. It cannot be 5 sense thought process. So for that person, again, who had Somanasa as Patisandhi, the thought process runs like this. Vibrating bhavanga, rest bhavanga, manodvara vachana, and then Domanasa javanas, and then Agantuka bhavanga, guest bhavanga, and then Somanasa bhavanga again. And if a person takes one of the concepts as object and then gets Domanasa javana, the same kind of thought process. Here there is no question of javana, because no question of Tadharamana, because Tadharamana arises only when the object is a Kama Vajra object, the individual is a Kama Vajra being, and after a Kama Vajra Javana. That is mentioned at the end of this section. So this is a thought process with guest bhavanga. Otherwise, I don't know what will happen. It does not come in, right? Let's see. And page 175, paragraph 19 and 20. So they hold that registration occurs only at the end of sense sphere jhavanas. So at the end of Kamavajra jhavanas, only to sense sphere beings, Kamavajra beings, and only when sense sphere phenomena become objects. So that means Kamavajra objects. So when the object is Mahagata or Panyati, there is no question of Tadharamana there. And with regard to the Mahanda object, there is no question of Tadharamana, because Mahanda objects cannot last until the second Tadharamana. So with regard to Ati Mahanda objects, there can be the possibility of Tadharamana. But here in this particular thought process, Tadharamana cannot arise. So if the Tadharamana cannot arise, then Bhavanga must arise. And that Bhavanga there is a difficulty with regard to that Bhavanga, because if it is to conform with the object, it must be Somanasa. But Somanasa cannot immediately follow Domanasa Jhana. And so there is this guest Bhavanga. Now, the thing of the Dharamana. So, Somanasa Dharamana follows Somanasa Jhana, and Ubeka Dharamana follows the Domanasa Jhana, and so on. But there is no fixing as to the being accompanied by knowledge or not. So Jnana Sambhyuta Jhana and Jnana Vipyuta Jhana, right? Sometimes a person has, say, familiarity with akusala jhanas, or say to that person mostly akusala jhanas arise. For him, even after akusala jhana, ahituka, the Dharamana can arise, because when he has akusala jhana, then the Dharamana is ahituka. Similarly, for one who is familiar with the arising of kusala jhanas, to whom kusala jhanas arise abundantly, then even after akusala jhana, there can be the Dharamana accompanied by jnana, knowledge. So in this case, there is no fixing. But with regard to Somanasa and Ubeka, or Somanasa, Domanasa and Ubeka, there is fixing. See, Somanasa Jhana followed by Somanasa Dharamana, Ubeka followed by Ubeka Dharamana, and Domanasa also followed by Ubeka Jhana. But with regard to being accompanied by knowledge and not accompanied by knowledge, there is no such fixing. So they can arise.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Is it confusing? Huh? Now today, first, you have to understand the fixing of the Dharamana, which Dharamana follows which. That is general rule. And after you understand the general rule, there is this exception with guest bhavanga. So first you must understand that Dhammanasa cannot be followed by Somanasa. And then there is the problem here. If your Parisanti was accompanied by Somanasa, then after Dhammanasa Jamana, no regular bhavanga can follow. So that is this advantageous or guest bhavanga. Okay. Any questions?
Okay, when Tirana would arise as a guest bhavanga.
Where?
Or the guest bhavanga say after the...
That has to be determined by the object. Since the object is very desirable, it must be Somanasa. You mean?
No, the guest, so...
You mean guest bhavanga?
Right. Is it always...
Guest bhavanga is accompanied by upeka.
Upeka, right.
Yeah.
But there's resulting upeka...
Oh, you mean kusala or akusala?
Kusala or akusala.
So since it is very desirable, it is kusala vipaka.
Yeah. Okay. But then when you explain about the function of Magga Cheta, instruction of defilement,
Yes.
to say the first Magga destroy two kilesa, but the second Magga, Sakadagami, doesn't destroy anything. And how, and you say the Magga only happened once, but it doesn't destroy anything. It just weaken the defilement. Am I correct on that note? And therefore the third Magga takes place to destroy those kilesa. Could you, I'm not sure I'm making the point here. The point is you say the function of the Magga is destroy the kilesa once and for all, and only happen once. That's the teaching. But the Sakadagami doesn't destroy anything. It needs the third Magga of anagami to destroy. How do we understand that in terms of the function of the Magga?
Yeah.
Happen
Now,
once and destroy, it doesn't happen again.
When we say Sakadagami Magga, it does not destroy any kilesas. That means it does not destroy kilesas all aspects of the respective kilesas. But there are layers or degrees of gravity in kilesas. Kilesas that can cause you to reborn in four woeful states, and kilesas that cannot lead you to four woeful states. And so when we say the Sotapaddi Magga destroys wrong view and doubt, we mean it eradicates wrong view and doubt altogether. But it eradicates Lobha, Dosa and Moha also. But Lobha, Dosa and Moha, that can lead him to four woeful states. That kind of Lobha and Dosa and Moha also he eradicates. So during the second stage, he eradicates some more degrees of Lobha, Dosa and Moha. Although any one of the kilesas is described altogether, but their degree, their what about that? The levels, their levels are eradicated by the second Magga also. That is why we say Magga eradicates mental defilements. Now, first Magga destroys two altogether, and others that can lead to four woeful states. Now, second Magga eradicates some layers of the remaining mental defilements, or according to the books, the sensual desire and ill will. So that layer of the kilesas, it destroys once and for all. But say the subtler layer still remains, and that is eradicated by the third and the fourth. So I think there is the eradication of mental defilements with the second Magga also.
So can I have a follow-up question on that? So the Maggas are distinct, right? Mutual, related in a way that it eradicate whatever the other lacks. Unable to, the next one will do it, or the next one. But they are distinct, right? Not really a
Overlapping? There is no overlapping? Hmm? They are different from...
I'm not sure they are really totally different or totally unrelated or related or equal.
They arise differently at different times, right? So we cannot say that they are related. But they have the common function of eradicating mental defilements. Take Nibbana as object, and eradicating mental defilement is the task of path consciousness. Not only path consciousness, path, along with its mental states. What do you understand?
It seems like one arise only one time. One Magga arise only one time. Do whatever it can do.
Yeah.
And then it no longer arises.
Right.
Then there is another arise to do whatever the other one left undone. And it does whatever it can. And it left to the next one, do whatever the next one can do, and it cannot do.
Yes.
So that's how it happened.
Right.
But because of that, we absolutely say that Magga doesn't arise again. It doesn't based on that. But see, it doesn't finish the job. We need another Magga to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
So that, and not completely say that Magga doesn't rise again. That's why.
I think we should be specific. Magga doesn't arise again means Sotapatti Magga doesn't arise again, Sakadagami Magga doesn't arise again, and so on. But if you take Magga as general, common, then we may say Magga arises. But since we have to deal with individual Magga consciousness, we have to say this does not arise again.
I think that that's right on the point. I couldn't.
So we need to understand clearly that Sotapanna Magga is different from the second level Magga,
yes.
so we have to be clear on that.
Right. They are different Maggas, and they belong to different stages.
Okay.
Okay, what?
And his question is to different persons. If they obtain the first Magga, for example, like as a first Magga, I had a first Magga, do they have the same degree? That's what it's a power.
I think if Magga arises, it must have the same function of eradicating mental defilements. So in that case, they are the same. I mean, different. Say one Sotapanna Magga arises in one person, another Sotapanna Magga arises in another person. But since they are Sotapanna Magga, their function is the same, eradicating mental defilements. Like we say, my kusala cheta and your kusala cheta. Although as kusala cheta they are the same, but it is my kusala cheta and your kusala cheta. So in the same way, it is my path consciousness, and the other is your path consciousness.
Ante, is that appropriate to use the term power of Maggasita? Is that term correct to use?
Power?
Of the Maggasita. Like you say, like the Maggasita in one person may be different in terms of the level in another person. So it's talking about the power of that Cheta to destroy the Kilesas. Is that term correct, or we should focus on using the term function and not putting a value on the power of that Cheta?
Magga. I think function is better because it is a function of Magga, right, to eradicate mental defilements. But this function can be taken as power. It's better to stick to function. Yeah. In the 9th chapter, there are mentioned 4 functions of Magga. Comprehending fully the first truth, eradicating second truth, realizing third truth, and developing fourth truth. So these are said to be 4 functions of Magga. So among them, one is eradicating the second noble truth. So I think eradication of mental defilements is to be called function of the Magga. Oh, yes.
On page 165 of the manual, it mentions that object can draw the continuum of consciousness out of the bhavanga, and the object comes into range of cognition at the mind door. And I wonder, does this include the karma and sign of karma and sign of destiny? Are those ever known?
Yeah, which paragraph? Page 165?
It's, 165. It's in the second paragraph toward the bottom, about the perpetual buzz of activity in the bhavanga.
That's the result of the perpetual buzz of activity in the bhavanga. When an object acquires sufficient prominence through other organization, it draws a continuum of consciousness out of the bhavanga. And then that object comes into the range of cognition and mind.
Sign of karma and sign of destiny, how those manifest themselves in life if they do. And I want that was a good key gem as well as other.
So bhavanga cheda as its own object, it is one of the three, right? Kama, Kamanimetta or Gatinimetta. But the Lady Zero says it occurs in the mode of inclining towards some other object. That means maybe it is waiting to get some fresh or some vivid object. Now Kama, Kamanimetta and Gatinimetta are something like obscure objects. So although it takes one of these three, it is like waiting for something to pop up so that it can take it.
So those are those ever known? Do they ever become known, or they must exert influence for some time?
I think it is not the influence of karma or maybe the others, but it is the impact of object to the mind. You know, when an object comes into the avenue, it strikes at both doors. Let's say, seeing a visible object, the eye and the mind. So that object coming into the avenue of mind door or striking the mind door is the cause for bhavanga, say, to stop and take that object.
On the page 170 on the guide 60, he said that in the following wholesome consciousness is accompanied by joy, and they say that then there can arise 32 sita and jhavanas in a doctrine. To apply wholesome sita are the first 4 jhanas, and then the 4 part of sitas and level of any the first 4 jhana, and lower 3 fruition sitas. Why the first 4 and second only 3?
Upat chetas at the level of any of the first 4 jhanas.
Right.
And the lower 3 fruition chetas at the same 4 levels.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know?
Just and the lower 3 fruition sitas.
Yeah.
The first only they take it 4. Why they take the last one in the 4th part?
The last one belongs to Arahants.
But the first Maga is the Arahant too.
No.
No.
No. Arahant means one who has.
The Maga.
Yeah?
The first one, Maga.
The first
First Maga.
Yeah.
First Maga.
But it is not. At the moment of Arhata Maga, he is not yet Arahant, right? So after Arhata Pala, he becomes an Arahant.
This Magga that Arahant gets after finish Magga that Arahant. Then you got thank you.
But Bante, for the all the three, after the Magga, then you become the next level.
Yeah.
You become Sakadagami after the Magga.
Actually, yes. Because there are eight kinds of Ariya persons, right? So Magga person and Phala person. And the Magga person, you are not called Sotapanna yet. Sotapatti Magga-tha and Sotapatti Phala-tha, right? So at the moment of Sotapatti Magga, you are not yet a Sotapanna. But from the moment of Phala, you are a Sotapanna.
Okay.
So at the moment of Arahata Magga, you are not an Arahant yet.
You
You got it.